Greetings, Lightworkers. I welcome you back, or perhaps for the first time, to this sacred circle where ancient wisdom breathes once more. You have found your way to a hidden current, one that runs beneath religion, beneath science, beneath our language. This is the way of the Hermetist, the silent path of the 7 laws, passed from mouth to ear, flame to flame, by those who dared to seek the structure behind all things. This is the first of 7 initiations. Today, we unveil the foundation of all spiritual alchemy, the first Hermetic principle, Principle of Mentalism, the internal truth that all is mind. Sit deeply, breathe slowly, the mystery is ready to speak. Before the Big Bang, before atoms, before even lights, there was mind. Not your mind, not ego or thoughts or memory, but the boundless field of awareness in which all things arise, the all. This is not God in the religious sense. The all has no form, no beginning, no end. It is not a being, but being itself. The Hermetic sage is thought. The universe is a mental projection. Everything you see, hear, touch, and know exists inside the infinite mind of the all. You are not outside of it, you are inside it, just as the dream character is within the mind of the dreamer. The all dreams, and we are that dream. The ancients understood. Truth, veiled in symbols, survives the ages. They showed us the eye, ever watching, not to control, but to remind. You are the observer and the observed. The Ouroboros, the serpent devouring its tail, revealed the mind is self-contained, ever creating, ever consuming. The pyramid crowned with a floating eye wasn't about control, but the power of mental clarity rising above the material world. These are not metaphors, these are maps. You live in a realm sculpted by thought. To the unawakened, life seems external, solid, fixed. But to the light worker who knows the principle of mentalism, every form is fluid, every fate malleable. Thought is a seed, and reality is its blooming. Let me tell you a story older than time. In the beginning, there was only silence, and in that silence, a thought arose. This was no ordinary thought, it was the first thought. The original dreamer, what the ancients called the all, stared in the void, not with hands or tools, but with awareness. From these thoughts, planets were born, stars were kindled, and time itself began to unfold. The depth of this universal mind, entire worlds were dreamed into being, reflections in a mirror that had never known its own fate. One of these reflections is you. You are not separate from the dream. You are the dreamer, dreaming yourself into form. The Hermetic master's thought, as in all things, so the world becomes. And you, Lightworker, carry a spark of that thought. Your imagination is the architect. Your belief is the blueprint. Your focus is the chisel. So I ask you, what reality are you creating? Now listen closely. If the universe is mind, then everything you experience is filtered through your own consciousness. The thoughts you harbor shape the lens through which the world appears. Joy, sorrow, chaos, peace, all are first born in your inner temple. So I ask you, Lightworker, what do you dwell upon? What do you repeat in your silent hours? For these are the incantations that summon your life's shape. A hermetist guides their thoughts like a priest guides flame. They know to shift the outer, one must tend the inner. As the mind clears, the world becomes a mirror of clarity. As the mind distorts, the world becomes a storm. To know the principle of mentalism is to become a sculptor of reality, not through force, but through alignment. The initiate learns to imagine with intention, not daydreams, but sacred construction. Visualization becomes spell work, focus becomes invocation. The more vivid your inner world, the more responsive the outer becomes. But this is not wishful thinking, this is mental alchemy. The all is mind. Therefore, to know your mind is to touch the source of all creation in every act of clarity, every thought of love, every vision of harmony. You harmonize with the frequency of divine. And now, light worker, your first key is given. The law is simple, yet it bends galaxies. The all is mind, the universe is mental. Meditate on this truth. See every object, every face, every moment as a ripple within the great mind. Close your eyes and remember, you are not in the universe is in you. Through awareness, you begin to awaken from the dream, and soon you may begin to dream deliberately. This is your first flame. Guard it, feed it, work with it, and when you're ready, the next gate opens. The second Hermetic principle beckons you forward. The law of correspondence. As above, so below. The journey continues, not outward, but inward, upward and downward. For all things are one motion, one mystery. In Principle 1, we uncover the primal truth, the universe's mind, the sacred dream within the all. How do we read the dream? How do we interpret the symbols, signs, and shadows of this living illusion? That is the gift of the second principle, correspondence. The hermetic mirror allows us to decode the divine. Prepare yourself for what lies above the stars, reflect beneath your skin. The ancient Isaiah says, as above, so below, as within, so without. This is no poetic flourish. It is a formula, a cipher to unlock the hidden symmetry of existence. What happens on the grandest scale, among planets and galaxies, is echoed in the tiniest particles of your being. The spiral of the galaxy mirrors the spiral in your DNA. The rhythm of the tides mirrors the rhythm of your breath. The chambers of the heart mirror the cycles of the moon. This is the law of reflection. Truth that all realms are nested within each other, and each level holds the key to another. Imagine the universe as the all of mirrors. Each plane reflects another. The physical mirrors the spiritual mirrors the emotional, the macro reflects the micro, and what is above, in divine order, cosmic harmony, exists also below, if you know where to look. This is why the stars can predict moods, why your body can carry trauma for thoughts, why your external world so often mirrors your internal landscape. The wise don't simply read the outer world, they read it as a symbolic map of their inner state. If there is a chaos without, there is likely conflict within. If there is stagnation without, there may be resistance within. The initiate learns, what I heal within myself, I harmonize in the world. Sacred geometry, astrology, even architecture, all were once tools to understand correspondence. Temple was built to reflect the structure of the cosmos. The mantra was chanted to record the frequencies of creation. When you meditate, you are not escaping, you are aligning. Your mind, your breath, your pulse, all are mirrors of celestial order. The hermetist asks, if the world is my reflection, what am I really seeing? Your relationships, your finances, your obstacles, your gifts. They are reflections, not punishment or rewards, but feedback from the deeper self. By changing the inner image, you alter the outer projection. Let me tell you a story. The mirror of the star child. In a time before calendars, before kings, before even the sun had its name, there was a star child, born not of flesh, but of stardust and intention. The star child walked both earth and sky, and wherever they stepped, the heavens echoed. When the star child wept, the rivers overflowed. When they danced, the constellations shimmered in rhythm. They asked the ancient ones, why do the stars follow my steps? And the ancient ones whispered, because you are not separate. What you do within echoes throughout. The stars are not above you, they are you. And so the star child stood on the tallest peak, arms wide open beneath the night sky, and whispered on truth that vibrated across the cosmos, as above, so below, as within, so without. The trees heard it and grew inspired, the oceans heard it and mirrored the moon. The people heard it and began to remember that every breath you take is a prayer, every thought a ripple, and every choice a constellation forming in your future sky. So Lightworker, when you seek answers above, first look within. The principle of correspondence is the key to symbolic sight. A crowd crosses your path, a number repeats, a dream returns. These are not coincidences, they are echoes from another plane. A wise Lightworker learns to read the hidden messages in all things. The micro events in your day might be a sign from the macro order of your soul's path. As the sky shifts, so does the psyche. As your thoughts shift, so shifts the air around you. The planes of existence, mental, physical, spiritual, causal, are not separate but interwoven. To master correspondence is to become a translator of the divine language. So what does this mean for you, Lightworker? It means nothing is random. Everything is a clue. You are a mirror and the world mirrors you. If you seek peace, create stillness within. If you desire love, cultivate love within. And remember, when you correct a distortion in yourself, you realign a piece of the cosmos. This is true magic, not the bending of outer will, but the inner transformation that reshapes reality. Let this be your practice. As I harmonize within, I heal the world without. This is your second flame. Let it light the next chamber of your becoming. And remember, all is connected, all reflects, all is one. The journey continues. The third Hermetic principle awaits you, principle of vibration, the secret rhythm of the universe. The ancient sages knew the universe is not still, it is not fixed, it is a dance, a living a symphony of eternal motion. The third Hermetic principle opens before you now. Vibration, the pulse of creation itself. To the ordinary eye, the world seems solid, but the mystic sees everything vibrates. Mountains, stars, thoughts, spirits, all are waves in different densities. Matter is vibration slowed, light is vibration freed. Sound is not the exception, it is the revelation. The universe is not made of things, it is made of frequency. The all being mind, imagined motion, and from that divine ripple, all things came into being. The ancients encoded this in their symbols, the drum in tribal rites, the chants in sacred rituals, the spiral in ancient carving. All remind us nothing stands still. The serpent winding around the staff, not just DNA but vibrational accent. Even the lotus opens in rhythmic unfolding, each petal a higher octave of awareness. Every symbol that moves speaks of vibration, and just as a single sound can shatter glass, the right frequency of thought can shatter illusion. Let me tell you a story, Lightworkers. A tale whispered through the veils of time. There once lived a woman called Ariel, far beyond the lands we know, in a realm where rivers sang lullabies and the stars pulsed with living light. Ariel was blind from birth, but she saw more than anyone else. Not with her eyes, but with her inner resonance. People from across the region called her the River of Sound. Each dawn, she would sit quietly outside her hut of stone and crystal listening. She could hear what others could not. The tone of sorrow in footsteps, the melody hidden in laughter, the hum of thought before it became speech. And with these sounds, not physical but vibrational, he wove tapestries, not of fabric, no, but of frequency, invisible patterns of energy that suited the heart and stirred the soul. One day, a troubled prince came to her. His kingdom was collapsing. The people were restless, the fields dying, his dreams haunted by shadows he could not name. "Wise woman," he said, kneeling, "tell me how to save my people. What words must I say? What action must I take?" Ariel was silent. Then she handed him a harp, old carved from bone and wound, and said softly, "Play the sound of your soul." The prince plucked the string. It rang hollow, sharp, out of tune. She shook her head gently. That is the sound of your thought. Try again. He tried once more, but the sound remained cold, false, without life. You will close the eyes. You are trying to impress, but vibration doesn't respond to performance. It responds to truth. So the prince set the app aside, sat with his pain, with his longing, with his love. The love he had forgotten he still held for his people. And then, from a place beyond thought, he reached for the harp once more and played. This time, the note that rang out was warm, deep, echoing, as though the universe itself paused to listen. Ariel smiled. Now you may return, she whispered. The world will vibrate to the music you now carry. Lightworker, here lies the sacred secret. You do not attract what you want, you attract what you vibrate. Your mood is frequency. Your beliefs are frequency. Your aura sings a tone before you speak. Fear has a frequency. So does love. Harmony and chaos each resonate on specific spectrums. If you wish to change your life, begin with the energy you hold. Are you vibrating in despair or devotion, in noise or in knowing? Energy is never lost. It simply changes form. This is the art of the alchemist's work to transmute vibration. Ancient masters used sound as a sacred key. Mantras, incantations, sacred tones. Why? Because spoken words carry frequency. They do not just describe reality, they shape it. I am whole, I am light, I release. These are not just affirmations, these are vibrational codes. So too, your silence, the beat of your breath, the stillness between heartbeats, all ripple across invisible dimensions. Every action is a frequency offering. What tone do you live in? What music does your life sing? The amethyst listens, not just with ears, but with inner tuning fork of soul. Now you hold the third flame, the knowledge that nothing rests, and that your frequency is your creation. Begin to listen deeply, not to sound, but to resonance. When you enter a space, what do you feel? When you speak, what energy follows? Let your thought be tuned, let your breath be deliberate, let your presence become a calibrated instrument of the divine. For the higher you vibrate, the more reality sings with you. Let this be your invocation. I align with the highest frequency. I vibrate as truth, as light, as love. And now, the rhythm carries us forward to the fourth principle, the law of polarity, the mystery of opposites, duality, and inner balance. Everything is dual, everything has poles, everything has its pair of opposites. Like and unlike are the same. Opposites are identical in nature, but different in degree. Opposites are no enemies, they are reflections of the same truth, observed from different ends of the current. Prepare to look beyond contradiction, prepare to see the unity behind duality. The Hermetic masters taught all things exist on a spectrum. Heat and cold are not different forces, they are different degrees of the same essence. Temperature, love and hate, two ends of passion, fear and courage, two shades of perception. This is the secret. Opposites are illusions born from the limitation of the senses. In truth, all opposites are part of a single continuum. There is no absolute beginning or end, only gradients, only degrees, only shifts in vibration and perspective. Let me tell you a story of the fire and the ice, a tale from the temple of two suns. Long ago, in a hidden desert, far beyond the maps of men, stood a forgotten temple, one that faced the rising sun from both the east and the west. It was said to be built by those who understood the secret of opposites, not as enemies, but as twins in disguise. Inside the temple lived two brothers, K, born of fire, and Drain, born of ice. K burned with passion, ambition, and drive. Drain moved with calm calculation and stillness. From childhood, the brothers clashed. One always too hot, the other too cold. They fought over everything: how to lead, when to act, when to wait. Energy divided the temple. One day, a great storm, unlike any before, threatened to consume the entire desert. The temple would be buried unless the two could find harmony. In desperation, K tried to burn the storm away. Juen tried to freeze it, but neither could stop the chaos alone. At the peak of the temple, they stood side by side for the first time, not as opposites, but as complements. K offered it to drive the wind upward. eastward, drained, cooled it into mist. Together, the storm dissolved and the desert bloomed. From that day, they roamed not as fire and ice, but as balance, not enemies, but necessary reflections. What you call the opposite is only the other side of the same coin. Without cold, who understands it? Without fear, what is courage? Without the shadow, how does the light worker find their flame? The ancients encoded polarity into every sacred image. The black and white tiles of the mystery schools, the twin serpents of the caduceus, the yin and yang, the left hand and right hand path. Even the ark of the convener rested between two golden cherubim, dual guardians of the divine middle. The tree of knowledge bore the fruit of good and evil, but the tree itself was one. The sun and moon, fire and water, masculine and feminine, all dance in sacred opposition, not conflict. The mystic learns not to choose a side, but to learn how to navigate the space between. Lightworker, here is where the real alchemy begins. For if opposites are the degree of the same thing, then you are never trapped. Hate can be transmuted into love by moving up the scale. Sadness can be transmuted into peace. Weakness into strength. This is the power of mental transmutation. Instead of fighting the opposite, the adept rises above it, changing its vibration, not its identity. For example, do not kill the darkness, you light a candle. This is how the hermetist masters emotion, behavior, and energy, by knowing the scale and choosing to climb it consciously. But there is more. The true mystic knows truth does not lie at either extreme. Fanaticism and apathy are both distortions. True wisdom is found in the center point, the razor's edge where duality is dissolved. This is the middle path, not balance by compromise, but integration through awareness. You don't just accept both sides, you learn to transcend polarity by understanding the oneness behind it. Think of electricity, positive and negative current, and between them flows power. You are the conductor of that current, a bridge between extremes, a living glyph of the sacred two becoming one. So now, Lightworker, you hold the fourth flame, the wisdom of polarity. Your call is this: stop fighting opposites, start understanding them. Practice shifting perspective from lower emotion to higher truth, from fixed judgment to compassion and clarity. If you find yourself lost in duality, remember, truth is not either or, it is both and transcended. Let this be your invocation. I rise above the poles, I choose the middle flame, I walk the space where opposites kiss. The journey now leads us to the fifth principle, the law of rhythm, the internal beat of the pendulum, the wave, the breath of the cosmos. Everything flows out and in. Everything has a tide. All things rise and fall. The Hermetists observe the secret pulse behind all creation. Everything rises and falls. What swings to the left must swing to the right. But this is not chaos, it is cosmic choreography. Let us now uncover the internal breath of the divine, the rhythm that carries galaxies, emotions, thought, and faith. Everything flows, everything moves, but not randomly. It moves with rhythm. The tide comes in and the tide goes out. The moon waxes and then it wanes. You inhale and then you exhale. Even civilizations rise, then fall. There is a beat to everything, a swing, a spiral, a wave. Let me tell you a story, one that lives in the symbol. In a forgotten village, nestled between two eternal rivers, one flowing eastward, the other west, there lived a weaver named Casey. Her tapestries were famous not for their colors, but for their rhythm. The way the threads danced between light and dark, joy and sorrow, chaos and harmony. One day, Casey became obsessed with only weaving the light threads. Why must there be darkness? She asked. Why must there be sorrow at all? So she abandoned her balanced tapestries and began weaving only light. At first, her work was praised, brilliant and golden, like sunlight trapped in cloth. But soon, the cloth began to unravel. Threads snapped, the fabric tore. Confused and devastated, she wandered to the rivers and met an old ferryman with no eyes, only pendulums where his pupils should be. He spoke. Child of rhythm, the swing toward one extreme is always matched by its return. To deny the night is to insult the dawn. Your tapestry must breathe. Casey realized her mistake. She had fought the natural rhythm, trying to live in only half of life. She returned to weaving this time, letting shadow dance with light, letting sorrow kiss joy. And her greatest work became known as the eternal flow, a cloth that shimmered and dimmed as the sun moved across the sky. Just like Casey, many of us try to resist the downswing, but the Hermetic wisdom reminds us, if we flow with the rhythm, not against it, we harness its true power. The principle of rhythm tells us, if you are in a valley, peak is coming. If you are on a mountain top, prepare to descend. But fear not, because the wise do not resist the tide, they learn how to ride it. The Hermeticists symbolize rhythm with the pendulum swinging between opposites. It mirrors the principle of polarity, joy and sorrow, success and setback, union and solitude. But here's the mystical secret: the higher your consciousness, the less violently pendulum swings. When you live unconsciously, you are tossed like a leaf on a wave. But when you become centered, you learn to observe the motion and detach from the extremes. You do not stop the swing, you transcend it. Rhythm is not linear, it is spiral. Think of the seasons, not just repeating, but spiraling forward. You are not the same soul you were last winter. You have risen a ring higher. This is the rhythm of initiation. Every death is followed by rebirth. Every silence is a new song. Day gives to night, and night gives to dawn, but the sun never truly dies. And so your soul rides its own wave, sometimes submerged in shadow, sometimes radiant with knowing, but always moving forward in sacred rhythm. The Hermetic adept does not resist rhythm, but neither is she ruled by it. She uses the art of mental alchemy to neutralize its pull. This does not mean you don't feel the swing, it means you don't get lost in it. If the pendulum swings low, you observe, you accept, and you anchor in inner knowing. Let this mantra guide you. This too is rhythm. I rise with grace, I fall with purpose. Like the master surfer who rides the wave, you do not fight the ocean, you listen to its tempo and become one with its flow. And now, light worker, you have lit the fifth flame, the secret of the divine rhythm. Begin to watch the waves of your life, not as punishment, but as patterns. When you rise, celebrate with humility. When you fall, reflect with patience. Let go of the illusion of permanence. All things move, all things shift, but your center can remain still. Let this be your invocation. I move with the rhythm of the cosmos. I rise and fall, but I am anchored in the eternal. Next, we move toward the sixth principle, the law of cause and effect, where karma, destiny, and divine choice intersect. Every cause has its effect, every effect has its cause. Everything happens according to the law. Chance is but a name for law not recognized. Nothing escapes the law, but the wise do not suffer under it, they wield it. In the ancient temples of the Egypt and Atlantis, the Hermetic adept spoke of a cosmic weaver, a silent force that binds every thought, action, and vibration into a sacred tapestry. Every effect you see in your life was born of a hidden cause, and every thought you think now is the seed of a coming result. This is not superstition, this is the law. Just as a seed gives rise to a tree and a spark to a flame, so too does your inner world create your outer one. You are the weaver, but you are also the thread. In the ancient land of Seraphis, where time flowed like a golden sand, and stars whispered secrets to sages, lived a woman named Nala, a humble weaver in the temple of threads. Her tapestries were unlike any other. Each thread glowed faintly with colors unseen by the common eye. Villagers believed she wove fate itself, but Nala always said, I do not weave fate, I simply follow it backward. One day, a restless prince named Joe arrived at her temple. He was tormented by events in his life, a betrayal, a loss, and a mysterious illness he claimed came from a cursed star. He begged Nala, tell me, why does suffering find me? Am I cursed by the gods? Nala led him into the Hall of Curses, a hidden chamber where massive tapestries hung from the ceiling, each representing the life of a soul. She pointed to a single golden thread in one tapestry and said, that single thread was a choice your ancestor made 7 generations ago. It began a ripple, a vibration that echoes through your bloodline. You are not cursed, you are a part of a curse. Joe, stunned, realized how his family's greed centuries ago sent in motion cycles of war, mistrust, and fear. He saw how even his smallest decisions today, what he said, whom he forgave, what he feared, were weaving new threads into the future. As the story ends, Nala places a silver needle in his hand and whispers, "The law is not punishment, it is precision. Each effect is waiting for its cause. You can choose now, Prince, to be a new first cause." Joe leaves, no longer seeing himself as a victim of life, but as its architect. The true mystic knows all causes begin in mind, your thoughts, beliefs, emotions. These are not whispers in the void, they are vibrational commands to the universe. Most people sleepwalk through life, reacting to effects, blaming fate, never realizing they are trapped in self-created loops. But when you awaken, when you become the cause instead of the effect, you reclaim your power. You say, I will no longer live by default, I will live by design. Hermetic law says, chance is a name for law not recognized. There are no coincidences, only patterns unseen. What you call luck is simply the echo of an unseen cause. The mystic learns to become a pattern reader. What am I repeating? What hidden belief is shaping this result? What unseen force did I set into motion long ago? Cause and effect teaches personal accountability, but also offers divine liberation. Because if your life is shaped by causes, you can create new causes. Most live as victims of this law, reacting to life, blaming others, blaming God. But the hermetist becomes a master of causation. You begin by planting intentional thoughts, speaking words that match your vision, taking action that aligns with the sacred flame within, and gradually, the web begins to respond. This is why ritual works, why affirmations, symbolism, prayer, and sacred intent all move mountains. They initiate a cause in the higher realms, which descends as effect in the lower. Just like lightning strikes from above, so does your inner energy shape the field below. Let this be your reminder. I do not wait for fate. I become the fate I wish to live. You have now entered the chamber of divine responsibility. You are no longer asleep. The sixth flame is lit within you. From now on, every word you speak, every emotion you feed, every vision you nurture is a sacred cause in the mind of the universe. Do not take that lightly. Do not fear it either. You are not a pawn on the board. You are the player. Let this be your invocation. I create with clarity. I plant only what I wish to harvest. I align with the eternal law. And now, dear light worker, the journey draws near its final flame. In the next video, we shall ascend to the seventh principle, the principle of gender, the hidden secret of creation, dual force, and sacred union. Gender is in everything. Everything has its masculine and feminine principles. Gender manifests on all planes. Now, at the pinnacle, we step into the eternal dance of gender, the sacred union of masculine and feminine forces, the primal seed of all creation, the mystery that births words and souls alike. Gender here is not mere biology, it is a universal polarity, the internal interplay of two complementary forces, the masculine, the active, projective, initiating force, the spark of will, the breath of power, the lightning that strikes, the feminine, the receptive, nurturing, magnetic force, the womb of form, ocean of potential, the quiet ground beneath the storm. This cosmic polarity is the seedbed of creation, where energy takes shape and ideas become words. Imagine the cosmic dance floor where masculine and feminine energy swirl, not as opposites in conflict, but as partners in an eternal ballet. Without masculine fire, feminine water remains still. Without feminine depth, masculine fire burns out. This dance is present in every atom, every star, every breath you take. Within your own being, these forces coexist. The thinker and the feeler, the creator and the nurturer, the warrior and the sage. True mastery is not denial of one, but the sacred balance of both. Long ago, before the rise of nations and the naming of stars, there was a sacred city hidden in the center of the world. It was called Suharel, the city of mirrors, where no one could lie, because everything you wear, the city reflected. In this city lived a being named Elinor, who was neither man nor woman, but both. A luminous soul split in two physical forms. Ellen, masculine, and Nora, feminine. They were born on the same breath, raised apart, yet always drawn to one another by an unexplainable force. Ellen was a warrior of mind, logic, clarity, command. He studied stars and spoke the language of fire. Nora was a priestess of intuition, feeling, flow, and creation. She could move rivers with her song and cause seeds to blossom with silence. Yet, the city was dying. The once living crystal walls of Turaro dimmed. The people, divided by outer differences, forgot the inner balance. Masculine and feminine were torn apart. Logic mocked feeling. Strength suppressed creation. One night, in the temple of reflection, Ellen and Nora stood face to face for the first time. In that sacred mirror, they didn't see their bodies. They saw a single soul, one light, two forces. The mirror whispered, "You were never separate." One speaks the language of thought, the other the language of becoming, but both are the breath of the divine. In that moment, Ellen lowered his sword. Nora raised her hand. Together, they stepped into the mirror and disappeared, not into death, but into union. The city awoke, the walls shone, the people wept. Masculine no longer feared feminine, and feminine no longer resisted masculine. Balance returned, creation resumed, Tuhara lived again. And in the wind, one could hear a new name, not Ellen, not Nora, but Eleanor, the name of who remembered. Hermetic wisdom teaches that gender manifests on all planes, physical as male and female bodies, mental as logic and intuition, spiritual as active will and passive knowing. When these forces are in harmony, creation flows effortlessly. When out of balance, chaos ensues. The initiate learns to identify these energies within themselves, to cultivate both, and to honor the sacred interplay. You are a universe of dual forces. The cosmic dance is your birthright. To live the principle of gender is to walk the path of integration. Embrace your inner masculine by cultivating clarity, focus, and action. Embrace your inner feminine by nurturing intuition, patience, and flow. Neither is superior, both are essential. When the masculine will builds, the feminine wisdom guides. When the feminine intuition flows, the masculine energy directs. Meditation, ritual, and contemplation help you balance these forces, allowing your soul to move in perfect harmony with the cosmos. Remember, Lightworker, true creation arises from union, not separation. You have now reached the seventh flame, the final hermetic circle revealed. The principle of gender is the internal creative dance within and without. Carry this sacred truth. I honor the masculine spark and the feminine depth within me. I am all. I am balanced. I am creation itself. Thank you, dear Lightworkers, for walking this mystical path with me. May these teachings illuminate your journey, and may you forever dance in the sacred harmony of the cosmos. If you have found light in this series, please like, subscribe, and share. The path of hermetic wisdom is eternal, and so is your unfolding. Until we meet again, walk in light and be the cosmic dance.